You're listening to The Rant with David King.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
Doggy do on his shoes.
Billy's dad is a fudge packer.
Millions, as you witness, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it for 10 damn years. Ain't I been saying it, Miguel? Huh? I've been saying it.
Everyone, welcome to The Rant. I'm your host, David King. It is good to be back on this Tuesday, the 25th. I want to apologize for being away. I got sick. Pretty sure it was Omicron. And it wasn't bad or anything. You know, it was like cold-like symptoms. But the problem is I didn't have a voice. I had no voice at all. So it took me out for about a week or so. So I couldn't do another episode, and I apologize. And I know some people would probably say it's a good thing, but I know the fans of this show would disagree. So here I am. I'm good to be back. It's good to be with y'all. Big NFL news. Tom Brady got lost. Oh, big. That's a hard fought game, man. And I know some people are talking about like the playoff, like the overtime rules and stuff. Like I'm not a big NFL guy, so I don't like, honestly, I don't have a team. And it's because I grew up in Michigan. We have the Lions. The Lions are just straight. The Lions are straight garbage. And so I don't have a team. And I just don't get into it as much. I root for Tom Brady because Tom Brady is a Michigan man. So naturally, I want him to do well. And he's the GOAT. But he lost. And I had a buddy of mine tell me that, he's like, you need to go on there and talk about the overtime rules. They're terrible. They need to be changed. And it's funny. I pulled up the Adam Carolla podcast, like literally left there and turned on the Adam Carolla podcast. And the first thing he says is the exact same thing. They got to change the overtime rules. So apparently they need to be changed. I don't know enough about it to talk about it. I'll bring him on. Maybe he'll come on and we'll talk. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty awesome. So I'm continuing on the theme on the new you in 2022, right? It's New Year. It's the new year. It's January still, so we can still talk about this stuff. And everybody's going on a diet. Everybody's cleaning their house and changing their lifestyle and whatever, what have you. And I think that's pretty good. You know, it's admirable. We all want to, I don't know, we all want to be a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the things that I'm super passionate and big on is diet. And it's not like I'm passionate enough to become a nutritionist or a trainer or anything like that. The reason why I am kind of so passionate about this is because while I was in the Marine Corps, we had to basically be athletes. I mean, we had to take care of ourselves. We had to run 3 miles, do all the pull-ups, push-ups, all that stuff. Had to be combat ready at all times. And so I treated myself much like an athlete would. You know, you eat right, you work out, do all these things. And so I got really heavily into diets. But I also got into it because I just didn't feel good. You know, prior to the Marine Corps, I had a lot of stomach issues. I just would always get sick. Like I would eat something, I'd run right to the bathroom. And I know nobody wants to hear that, but It's the truth. And I had this issue and I thought, man, there must be something wrong with me. Looking back at it, my mom, she ate a lot of whole wheat diet. I was living with my mother before I went off to the Marine Corps, and they ate a lot of like the whole wheat, the grain, heavy grain diet, so a lot of whole wheat. And I think that's what did it for sure. Because when I left for the Marine Corps, it kind of stopped. So the high fiber, whole wheat grain diet thing was definitely a problem. And that's probably why I wasn't feeling so good. I was over fibered. The tank was too high. And so when I went into the Marine Corps, though, I did notice that like I would feel a certain way. I'd feel tired. I'd feel groggy. I'm like, come on, I'm in good shape. I can run 3 miles. I can do all these push-ups and pull-ups and stuff. What's wrong with me? It's got to be what I'm eating. And I found out that it was. I would find out that in fact it was what I was eating. That was the problem. So, just checking my levels here, folks. Bear with me here. I'm still getting used to my Rode mixer. I have a new mixer for my podcasting. And so I'm still getting used to it and trying to get the levels right. You might have noticed that some of the episodes have been quiet. We've fixed that, hopefully. Anyway. Anyway, I noticed it was my diet. So the diet was a huge problem. And I decided to do paleo diet. That was the thought. I thought to myself, well, what's natural? I want to eat natural. And then I did my research and I came across the paleo diet. And I still think the paleo diet's one of the best diets you can do, but it is hard to do. It's very hard to do because it's expensive. It's very restrictive. And it can, that's the thing I hate about diets is that they're often so restrictive that they're not sustainable. And so that's why I when I discovered this NSNG diet, when I first heard about it, I was kind of like, whatever. And I spoke about this on the last episode. I kind of touched on it very briefly towards the end, just because I kind of wanted to get it into the episode, but I'd like to go into a little more detail on this one. So this episode's going to be, it's going to be kind of NSNG, but it's going to be a little bit off topic of that, but it's going to be in relation. And just so everybody has an update, I was able, been on the NSNG diet since November after I had my physical. Y'all know, I had my physical, didn't feel good. Knew that I was probably going to get some bad results because I knew I was overweight. I had lost some weight, but I knew I was still overweight, didn't feel good. And so I knew I was going to get some kickback. I was just hoping it wasn't going to be too bad. They told me my cholesterol was high, and I figured that was going to be the case. But all the cholesterol, the LDL, and the good and the bad, all high. And so they were like, we need to bring that down, or we're going to have to put you on medication. And I'm like, I'm 33. You're not putting me on cholesterol meds. There's just no way. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this as an excuse to get healthy. So I'm going to go on this diet. I had some other reasons too that are kind of personal to me that I will not say on this podcast for why I wanted to do it. But the people who know me know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to do this diet and get back in shape. And so I've been on it since November. And I started off at like 205, I want to say. I think I was at 205. Now, keep in mind, pre-pandemic, so 2020, going into 2020, I was 230. So I was about 230, 235 pounds. I shedded a lot of that weight basically because my vocation changed. I went back to doing renovations and construction again because when the pandemic hit, my wife's business, who I went to go work for, is shut down. She lost everything. And then but what didn't shut down was renovations. Like the trades guys, their stuff just exploded. So I went back to doing it again, and that helped me lose some weight. And that got me down to like 210, 205, 208, depending on the day. And so now I am down to 188 pounds since I last weighed in. That is very close to my fighting weight. When I say fighting weight, I'm jokingly referring to my weight in the Marine Corps when I was 25. $188. And so what was cool was I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see if I can wear my dress blues. I have not been able to fit. There was no way. I remember putting my dress blues on and I couldn't button them up. Like I couldn't even barely get the jacket on. That's how fat I got. And so went into my office, pulled them out, put it on, and sure enough, it fit. And it was uncomfortable because the outfit's always uncomfortable, but it fit. And it just made me so happy to be able to fit into those dress blues when I never thought I'd ever fit in them again. It's a good feeling. And so I'm still doing it. I've been a little weak this month, a little cheaty this month, probably just because it's hard coming off the holidays with all the delicious food you've had with sweets. And so I haven't been as strict as I was in November and December, but I'm pretty strict throughout the week though. And it's been paying off. Just so everybody knows what this diet is, NSNG stands for no sugar, no grain. It's just that simple. It's really not that much to explain. You don't eat sugar. You don't eat grain. No carbs. You cut it all out. What you're trying to accomplish by doing that. So the way the body works is that your body will burn off sugar and carbohydrates first. Okay. Then it starts to burn off fat. And what people have to understand is that like if sugar and carbs, if you do not burn sugar and carbs, what happens? It gets stored as fat. So, what you do when you cut out the sugar and fat, well, you cut out the process of which your body has to burn that first and then go to the fat. What you're doing is you're just going right to the fat and you go into a state of what's called ketosis. It's kind of where like the keto diet came from. I'm not keto. You can be keto. That's fine. This is a very similar thing to keto, but even keto isn't fully NSNG in a lot of cases, and they allow you to eat certain things that I probably wouldn't agree with. But you do go into a state of what's called ketosis, which is where your body is constantly, when it needs energy, it goes into your fat reserves, right? So it's burning the fat inside your body. So instead of having to go through the sugar and the carbs of what you just ate, like the pastas and the cake or whatever else, the cereal, it just starts burning the fat. And this is why people lose so much weight on this diet and so easily. Not always easy. Some people have a slower metabolism and it is hard, but so many people, thousands of people have had so much success on this diet because they go into that state of ketosis. And that is what you're trying to strive for. So you're cutting out the carbs, the sugar, you're eating things like vegetables and meat. In NSNG, they actually tell you not to eat fruit. I don't eat enough fruit for it to be a problem. There is some fruit that they do say is okay. That's like berries and cherries. Those are the two fruits that Vinny in his diet he recommends because of the nutrition content, and there's some other things to it as well. He even says you shouldn't eat orange vegetables. Stay away from orange vegetables because they tend to be high in sugar as well. Again, I don't do that. And the reason why I don't do that is because I am not pre-diabetic. I don't have a pre-existing condition. I'm not morbidly obese or anything like that. So I don't have to really go into this fully restrictive version of it. But if you are somebody who is pre-diabetic or it does have type 2 diabetes, which this diet has been known to reverse type 2 diabetes, you potentially would want to probably go full on, cut all the fruit out, no orange vegetables, strictly green vegetables, no sweet potatoes. You can't have any starchy potato, period. And he doesn't recommend the sweet potato either. I still eat a sweet potato. That's paleo. I'm fine with it. Again, not on that spectrum of pre-existing conditions, so I don't have to really go too full hard on it. So that's the goal, is to get to that phase where your body is constantly burning fat, and that's the beauty of it. So you actually can find that you can go longer in between meals. You can do a thing called intermittent fasting, and there's a huge amount of health benefits to intermittent fasting. So for me, I intermittent fast during the day, I'll have a nice breakfast, 3 or 4 eggs, generally a protein such as sausage or meat or maybe some leftover chicken or something if we have it. I'll eat that, and then I'm good for like the rest of the day. I will not be hungry again until usually around 3 or 4 o'clock. So right about the time where I'm wrapping up work, I'm starting to get hungry again. And sometimes if I get hungry earlier, I'll have like a piece of cheese or something with protein in it. Like a healthy beef jerky or something like that. So sorry guys, I'm still getting over this cough or this sickness, so my throat still gets dry and irritable. But that allows me to kind of go through the whole day without eating anything. Now, some people may find that they don't need to have breakfast. They can go the day without breakfast, and maybe they want a lunch. That's fine too. And generally, like, there's people who they'll do an intermittent fast where they don't eat breakfast, but they'll have a lunch, and it's usually a very light lunch, something like a salad, maybe with some chicken on it, with olive oil and red wine vinegar, and then they'll have a nice dinner. And then but they'll have that dinner early. So it's usually that dinner's around like 5 or 6 o'clock, and then they don't eat again until the following day at lunch. And that's another way of intermittent fasting. It works for some people. There's a lot of psychologists will say that if you're somebody they'll use the term lightly because it's not always the case. Like your blood sugar is not necessarily dropping, but you'll say, oh, my blood sugar's dropped and I've gone into this, I get irritable if I don't eat. You know what I mean? Like for me, I like having breakfast. I feel that I perform better through the day. Now, that's not to say that I have skipped breakfast. I do. It's not a big deal. I can get away without it. But I would prefer to have my protein in the morning. There's clinical studies will show that if you have protein in the morning, even if it's just like a piece of chicken, like cook a piece of chicken, have some leftover chicken, have a piece of leftover steak, have a hard-boiled egg. Doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but get some sort of protein into your diet. It helps your brain function throughout the day. You don't get those weird spikes and mood swings throughout the day that a lot of people will notice if they haven't ate yet. So that'll help with that. So that's the whole thing. That's the diet in a nutshell. Is you're cutting out the carbs and sugar, so you go into a state of ketosis, and your body is constantly burning fat throughout the day. So then you're not hungry as much. You're not needing to eat as much. You can still eat as much as you want in terms of what you can eat, but you're going to notice the desire to eat more is lessened because your body has everything it already needs stored up, especially if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight because you are overweight. Your body's going to eventually, it's going to be tough. If you are someone who's overweight and you are doing this diet for the first time, those first 2 weeks are going to be rough. You actually might start to feel like you're getting kind of sick. They call it it's like a keto flu or something. And basically like what it is, it's just your body coming off of having the sugar, having the carbs, and resetting itself. That could be extreme. What we don't realize is like sugar sparks the same brain waves in terms of like the neurons firing off in your brain. It is sparking the same neurons as like cocaine. Okay? Like sugar, that's why it's so addictive. Like nobody thinks about sugar as a drug, but they should. That's why it's so easy. It's like you eat a little bit and it's like, I can tell you right now, if I have a cookie, I will start to crave sugar like crazy. It's funny, when I started this diet, the first week or so was kind of rough with the sugar, but eventually I didn't crave it anymore. But I noticed like if I had a cookie, let's say like for the holidays, I started craving it. Like I would eat a dinner and then I would want something sweet. And so it's an addictive substance. So you're kind of like weaning yourself off of a drug. So you will have, depending on your state of health, you'll probably have either a lesser or a harder time weaning off it. You just got to fight through it. That first week, especially that first 7 days, those first 7 to 14 days are critical. If you can go really full hard for those first 7 or 14 days, you'll find after that, it gets to be very, very easy. The cravings go away. You start to feel a lot better and you'll start to see results. But that's the update on that. And I strongly recommend you look into it. And one of the things that I had previously mentioned on the show, and it's one of the topics I want to get into, it's kind of why the topic of the show, what it is. One of the things I mentioned previously on the show was avoiding vegetable seed oils. And I'm going to say, you know, if you do not want to do a diet of any kind, like you don't want to do NSNG, you don't want to, you're not interested in losing weight, you don't really care. If anything at all, I plead to you to please avoid seed oils at all costs. Seed oils are literally killing you. Literally. Okay. And now that may sound extreme. You might be going like, whoa, Dave. What are seed oils? Well, seed oils are corn oil, palm seed oil, peanut oil, corn oil, vegetable oils. Those are palm oil. I guess that palm seed oil would be the same thing. But those are what are considered oils. These are heavily processed oils. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't cook with those. So what's the big deal? I don't cook with any of that stuff. Well, the big deal is it's in everything, almost everything at the grocery store that you eat that you may not even realize. It could be anything that's harmless. You could be thinking that what you're eating is healthy. Oh, this is a healthy food option. It could be something like granola, right? We already know granola is loaded with sugar and everything else and carbs. It's not good for you. It's why when you eat it, you feel like dog crap afterwards. But it's in everything. It's a really big deal. So the food industry is replacing healthy oils like olive oil, beef fat, or butter, and they're using things like palm seed oil in its place. And if you look at everything you buy in the grocery store, the next time you go, just casually look at the ingredients list. Generally, it's about the first or second item listed. And you'll start to see like, oh, wow, this has palm oil in it. This has got safflower oil in it, sunflower oil. Those are the big three. You might see like vegetable oil or corn oil listed. And you can avoid it without necessarily cutting your favorite foods out of your diet. You say, well, David, I love peanut butter, for instance. Well, that oftentimes is a main ingredient in peanut butter. Well, that's fine. Ditch the Jif and go for a natural brand. It might be a little bit more money. But a lot of those brands, like just look at the brands of peanut butter and even some of the major brands that aren't so expensive, just look at it. You'll see what they use. Now, a lot of the major brands like Jif and Peter Pan and all them, they're going to use safflower oil. Well, actually, I think they use palm oil. And they use that to just kind of keep the mixture creamy. They like that, keep that consistency. And it's kind of, it's almost like you're eating primarily oil. That's the problem with that stuff. It's like, oh, it's peanut butter, but it's like, no, you're eating primarily oil because they're stretching out that peanut as far as they can to maximize their profits. But if you look at some of the other brands, you'll notice it's just got peanuts in it. It's got no oil at all because really you don't need any oil for peanut butter. You don't have to use oil. You can if you want it a little creamier. If you're, so you can look at the products and pick one that doesn't have it, or you can make your own nut butters, which I think is probably a better option. I'd recommend that. Certainly have more control over, consistency and flavor. If you like the flavor of Jif, you can try to match it by using your own peanuts and doctoring it up. Just remember that if you do make your own nut butters, use unroasted nuts when you do it, because all roasted nuts are roasted in, you guessed it, palm seed oil. I guarantee it. Go to next time you're at the grocery store or a gas station and you're looking at your trail mix or your mixed nuts, like the cashews and stuff, the roasted ones, all the flavors, they all have been roasted in this oil. It's frustrating as heck because I love cashews. I love almonds. I love the ones that have like flavoring to them, and I can't eat any of them because of the oil. The only nuts that I eat at the gas station now are the almonds, but they're raw almonds, and they have no oil in them because it's just raw almonds, and they're good. I like them. So, not so heart healthy anymore when you look at the packaging. They'll tell you, oh, it's good for your heart, right? No, it's not, because it's loaded up with the palm seed oil. So why are these processed oils so bad for you? Vegetable oils are high. Here's the biggest issue, and this is what I've told a lot of people. Vegetable oils are highly inflammatory. Eating industrial seed oils raises our omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratios, with significant consequences for our health. They are high in linoleic acid and polyunsaturated omega-6 fatty acid, which is highly inflammatory when consumed in excess. Okay, that's the key term. And it's easy to do because this stuff's in everything. Industrial seed oils are unstable and oxidize easily, thus causing oxidation in our body. Why is that a problem? Well, oxidation can damage vital molecules in our cells, including DNA and proteins, which are responsible for many body processes. Molecules such as DNA are needed for cells to function properly. So if too many are damaged, the cell can malfunction or die. Okay. When industrial seed oils are repeatedly heated, even more toxic byproducts are created and then become trans and hydrogenated fats. It's hard to even pronounce some of this stuff, releasing oxidizing free radicals into our system. Dr. Catherine Shanahan's book, Deep Nutrition, she explains how the heat processing of seed oils can impact your cells. She says that processing distorts the fatty acids in vegetable oils so they can no longer assume the typical 5 or 6-sided geometry. Like Chinese finger traps, our enzymes pick up these distorted fatty acids and then cannot let them go, which hampers cellular function so profoundly it can kill your cells. And if you eat enough trans fat, cellular dysfunction will impair so many cells and so many tissues that the cumulative effect will disrupt basic functions like blood circulation or your body's ability to fight infection and eventually kill you. Trans and hydrogenated fats are industrial and chemically processed seed oils. The most insidious of all the chemical structure has been completely distorted to the point where they release free radicals into your system. What is a free radical? Something you definitely don't want. Free radicals are high energy electrons that are involved in every known disease. They cause disease by restructuring nearly every molecule they come into contact with, converting biologically functioning molecules into dysfunctional or even toxic molecules. So it's pretty bad stuff. If that doesn't convince you, maybe some of the more facts that I lay out here do, but just over that very short period, that was the thing that I spoke to my wife and she was like, wow, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, think about how much our grandparents and our parents cooked with this stuff because they've been told their whole life it's good for them. And look how many of them got sick. They got, and her Paul had heart issues, but think about that. All my grandparents either had dementia or cancer. Her grandparents had cancer. One of them had a stroke. These are things that can all be implemented, can be brought on because of these oils. So vegetable oils were introduced in about the 1960s. And since then, we have seen a radical spike in chronic illness in the U.S. And not to mention heart disease. Heart disease is the number one killer of people in the United States. It's not even close. It's unbelievable. So it's not hard to put two and two together. So when you see the implementation of vegetable oils and then you see this kind of linear line of increased chronic illness, you can kind of put two and two together. Look at young adults in the 60s and then look at young adults today. The men in the 60s, they were skinny. I mean, they had like 6-pack like stomachs, but today, not so much. I mean, even guys that are not even obese, they still have a pooch. They got the poochy pooch. Obesity is something that plagues the United States. a little fact here from the CDC. From 1999 to 2000 through 2017 to 2018, U.S. obesity prevalence increased from 30.5% to 42.4%. During the same time, the prevalence of severe obesity increased from 4.7% to 9.2%, almost 10% of severe obesity. Now, you can make the argument that Americans today eat out more, and that's true, or eat more fast food, and you're right about that. That certainly is a culprit. There's no doubt about that. We're not going to argue that. But what is their food cooked in? Seed oils. Yeah, the French fries, they're not good for you, but they're made worse when they cook them in processed monosaturated oils. In fact, when McDonald's first opened, they cooked their foods in beef tallow, otherwise known as beef fat. By the way, great option for cooking foods in. That's what they used to cook their food in. So in a way, the French fry back then was much healthier. And these oils now account for 20% of Americans' calories. And they've made their way into nearly every packaged food and restaurant meal we eat. From oat milk, tortilla chips, margarine, and mayonnaise to Subway's breads, Domino's pizza crust, and Chipotle's rice. Yes, even Chipotle. Oh my gosh. And as mentioned earlier, as vegetable oil consumption has grown, rates of obesity, cancer, and diabetes, among other chronic illnesses, have surged to unprecedented levels. 6 in 10 adults in the U.S. have a chronic disease, and 4 in 10 adults have 2 or more. That's unbelievable. While saturated fat, sodium, red meat, carbohydrate, and sugar consumption have all decreased in the last couple of decades, along with the rates of smoking and physical inactivity, our consumption of vegetable oil has skyrocketed. So it's easy to see. Vegetable oil is killing us. Why is it allowed to be used? With so much that we know now, why is it that we allow this product to be in circulation? Well, for one, the information on these oils, it's relatively new. Doctors for the longest time, and some still do, told their patients to cut out the saturated fat, meat and dairy, and stick with seed oils. And secondly, the most important reason I might add, it's cheap. Dirt cheap. And corporate America loves that. I believe the push to use these industrial oils goes just beyond cost too. Now, this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but I think if I did some digging, I could probably find some truth in it. But I believe the USDA introduced the food pyramid to help subsidize the farming industry in the U.S. Because think about it, what does the U.S. have the ability to grow so much of? Corn, wheat, and soy. And it's so easy and cheap to grow. So let's put it in everything. And let's create an entire food pyramid around it to boost the sales of this fine product, to help subsidize the farmers. Got to keep their pockets lined, and don't act like the farmers weren't paying somebody to go to DC and push it. Well, fast forward to today, and we're all fat, disease-ridden, and miserable. And now the meat industry is even jumping on board with this. This is where things take a weird turn here, folks. Yes, the meat industry, because of the changes in the wind, because we haven't learned, we're not looking at the science. Everybody always says follow the science. We're not following the science on this one. They are getting in on what's called Beyond Meat category. Companies like Tyson Chicken and largest pork producer, what the heck is their name? I can't remember. They're all investing in this category called Beyond Meat. Now, personally, when I first was introduced to Beyond Meat, and I'm sure everybody who's listening to this probably was introduced it to the same way, we saw it on a Burger King commercial, right? The Beyond Whopper, or the, what was it called? There's the 1-2 for McDonald's. It's like the, Impossible Royale or something. I don't know. But that's how we were introduced to this. We were introduced to this Beyond Meat, this fake burger from the fast food industry. That should have been a red flag immediately, right? It's like, oh, it's not really meat, but it tastes like meat. It's coming from Burger King. It must be good for you. So I knew that Beyond Meat was probably too good to be true. So it either didn't taste good like they said, or it simply just wasn't good for you. So, but I can report that I have absolutely no idea what it tastes like at all. I've not had this stuff, but I can tell you for a fact that it is horrible for you. And what's the main ingredient of Beyond Meat? Processed oils. Well, what do you know? But that's not the only ingredient that's bad for you in there. And I'm not going to get heavy into this category because, frankly, I could do literally a whole show on the fake meat market. In fact, Vinny Tortorich just did a great documentary. It's called Beyond Impossible. I suggest you check it out. It goes really deep into the industry and breaks it wide open. I mean, it's pretty crazy. The fact that this is a $1 billion industry, and I'll get into it here in a minute. So let me get back on target. So the Beyond Meat market targets vegans. That was like the initial kind of target. It's people who don't want to eat meat. Well, that targets them first. But the companies that make this stuff are really coming for us. They're coming for you and me, the meat eaters. They've all but said it. They're like, vegans are not our target. Our target is everybody. Our target is the world. They're getting the UN. They've got on board. They've got the World Health Organization on board with them. They've created this global enterprise called EAT or something like that, where they meet, and it's all these global leaders that are pushing this vegan diet. And part of that vegan diet, and the thing that they're headstrong on, is this Beyond Meat, because they think this is going to solve so many problems. It's going to solve our dietary problems. It's going to solve the climate. It's going to solve hunger. It's all these things it's going to fix. And it's going to save the animals. It's going to save the planet. It's going to save us because now we're not eating red meat. You know, they'll tell you all that. They'll say, oh, it's to save the planet so we can be healthier, all these things. But really, the truth of it all is, like I always say, follow the money. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. That's why these companies are doing it. That's why Tyson, why would Tyson, a company who produces chicken, want to produce a product that would basically crush their bottom, that crushes their predominant? It'd be like Ford investing in, I don't know, skateboards. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like Ford going, we're going to produce a product that is inferior to the automobile. Well, why would you do that? You sell automobiles. Yeah, we know. It's because of this. It's not because this is any better. It just makes us a lot of money. So it's profitable that companies who sell, so it's just ridiculous. So what is in Beyond Meat, though? What does the faux burger have in it? Well, it'll surprise vegans probably a lot, because it'll surprise them to know that there's very little vegetables in it, if at all. I'm not really quite sure, really, when I look at it, if there's truly any vegetable at all in this. So this is the ingredients. This is the ingredients. If you go to beyondmeat.com, they sell the Beyond Burger meat, amongst other things. And this is their ingredients. You ready for it? Water, pea protein, expeller pressed canola oil. There you go. Refined coconut oil, which is not the good kind of coconut oil. Rice protein, natural flavors, dried yeast, cocoa butter, methyl cellulose, and then less than 1% of potato starch, salt, potassium chloride, beet juice color, apple extract, pomegranate concentrate, sunflower lectin, vinegar, lemon juice concentrate, vitamins and minerals. And those vitamins are the vitamins that you would find in meat. So zinc, niacin, vitamin B3, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and calcium pantothenate or whatever. So those are the vitamins you would normally find in red meat. They've added it to this so you get the vitamins you would normally get. That sounds so appetizing. I don't know about you, but they had me at pea protein. Or maybe it was the methyl cellulose or the pomegranate concentrate. By the way, they use beet juice color in this because if you go back, I said beet juice color. That's an ingredient. What is that for? Well, it's not for flavor because nobody likes to taste the beets except for me. Beet juice color is to simulate the red juice that we often associate as blood in real meat. By the way, that juice is actually not blood, it's myoglobin. If you want to know what myoglobin is basically a chemical in the meat that's released from the water. So as the meat is exposed to oxygen, it begins to not be able to hold the moisture any longer. So it starts to release water. And in that water is the myoglobin. That's that red stuff you're seeing. I mean, this is beyond processed. That's what they should really call it. Beyond processed food. I don't know any of this. Like, if you put all this in front of you, it would look like it. To me, it seems like a science experiment. And while many of the ingredients may seem harmless, sure, maybe the vinegar and the lemon juice is harmless. What is the third one on the list? Canola oil. If you're going to eat coconut oil, you want the unrefined coconut oil. That's the better coconut oil. You can still eat refined coconut oil. That's okay. But really, you want unrefined. It's a process in which they break it down. This is what they want you to eat over actual meat. This is what they are telling you is better for you than the steak or the hamburger you have been accustomed to all these thousands of years on this planet. I mean, really? That list, that ingredient list is what I'm supposed to eat over meat? That's what these Harvard professors are telling us that we should eat? These UN, the WHO, well, we know what the WHO says. The psychos behind this product want you to actually believe that a processed lab experiment that is beyond meat is better than what God placed on this planet for us to eat and have eaten for thousands of years. That's what they want you to believe. And it isn't just the beyond meat. It's almost every vegan meat alternative ingredient list. It's almost all vegan meat alternatives. The ingredients list is like a periodic table of elements. I'm telling you, go to the grocery store for fun. The next time you go there, they have a whole section for the fake meat now, but they'll also have it mixed in with the other stuff. So if you go to the eggs, they'll have fake egg. I looked at it. It was like, literally says just egg on the label. And I read the ingredients. There's no egg in it. It's like, there's processed oils in it for sure. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. And I can't remember what it was. It's like, what? By the time you read the list, it's like, eat a damn egg. How do you think that this is better for you? In fact, let me see if I can Google this. Let's see if I can pull this up. I really would love to. Just egg. Yeah, here we go. Just egg vegan. Yeah. Here it is. Oh my gosh. Cooks and tastes just like eggs. But it's not. Let's see here. You'll have to forgive me. My internet's a little bit slow. What's the ingredients? See our products. I mean, you just feel like, I don't know. It may not tell me. But when you look at the ingredients of it, we separated the egg from the chicken because the industrialized egg system sucks for the planet, for us, and let's be honest, it's not a party for the birds either. Well, okay, what about free-range chicken eggs? What about going to your local farmer and eating his eggs? Those are not the chickens are still producing the eggs. Oh, and these eggs are also just really delicious. It's almost false advertisement because it's not eggs. Come on, where are you at? Okay, our key ingredients. Here we go. I found it. I wish I had a producer. Mung beans is the key ingredient. Turmeric. Oh, they're lying. They're not showing it all. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, it's unbelievable. Again, it's supposed to be better for the planet and the animals and yada, yada, yada. It's a joke. It's killing you, by the way. You're saving nobody because, we can get into the conversation of, industrialized farming practices and how I don't agree with it either. You should go support your local butcher. your local cattle farmer. They're out there. You'd be surprised if you Google it. I Googled it the other day, and there's 2 of them just up the street from me. I can literally go up the street and buy meat directly from a cattle rancher in my city. So they're there, and you can support them. And there's another guy who has a whole mess of chickens, and he sells eggs. Like, you can go buy eggs from a local farmer where it's sustainable and clean, and it's good for you. That's an option that's available. So this whole idea that, like, oh, well, you have to no longer eat eggs because we got to save the chickens because of the industrialized farming. It's like, no, that's a load of BS. If you really want to put an end to it, then you just buy eggs from a local farmer, because then you'd be supporting local business, and you're still helping the chicken, because the chicken is going to produce the egg anyway. A healthy, happy chicken lays eggs. They'll tell you that. Any farmer will tell you that. So ask yourself, I mean, you got to ask yourself, why do you need something? This is my big thing too. And this is something that actually, like, Vinny didn't even touch on in the Beyond Meat. He didn't really touch on this from this perspective, which is, why is it, if you go, let's say you go vegan, okay? And I'm not bashing vegans. That's not what I'm trying to do here. If you go vegan, why is it that you crave meat still? Right? We had kind of touched on this earlier. Why is it that you crave sugar? Why is it that you crave carbs? Why is it that you crave anything? Why do you need something to stop the craving you have for red meat? I mean, after all, really, that's what this is for, right? They're creating the impossible burger to substitute the real burger, because they know you want a hamburger. Craving a burger? Well, don't eat that red meat. It is bad for you, and it kills innocent animals. And don't get me started on climate change. Here, have a Beyond Burger. It's so much healthier for you. Don't ask me to list the ingredients. Ask yourself this. Honestly, think about it. Ask yourself this. Why are you craving that burger? Is it because it tastes good? That could be it, certainly, for sure. But what else? Could it be that your body is craving the nutrients found in that meat? Protein, iron, B12, zinc, creatine, and various others. Just like your body wants that sugar, your body wants the nutrients in the meat. And by the way, funny thing about B12, you can't get that anywhere else but in meat. And it's an essential nutrient for brain health, among other things. Like, it's so essential that if you don't get enough of this nutrient, the B12 vitamin, it will kill you. You will die. So if you don't have enough B12, you will eventually die. They say if you had cut out 100% of the B12 in your diet, like you were getting none of it, you'd be dead within about a year. Roughly. It depends. There's variables, but they found out it was 6 to 30 months was the window, but the majority was within a year. So 12 months. Now, you can get a supplement of B12, but that's only been available since about the 1950s. And one of the things that the doctors are finding out about that is that your body actually has a harder time of processing the supplement version for whatever reason. I didn't see the reason why, but for whatever reason, the supplement doesn't process as well. So you can take a B12 supplement, but your body's not getting all of it in it. It needs. It's not able to break it down and use it the same way it would be when it's in meat. It's interesting to me that a vitamin that is so important for our life can only be found in the very thing that these so-called experts are telling us not to eat. Kind of funny how that works out, right? You know, it's funny how your body has a way of telling you what it wants. You know, hey, donut sounds pretty good because I loaded up my system on sugar, and now my body's telling me, hey, go get a Coca-Cola, go get a donut. I need more of that sweet stuff, baby. And the same can be said for veggies and meat. Your body will crave the nutrients inside. So feed it what it really wants. Give it the meat. And again, I'm not attacking vegans. If you want to be a vegan, by all means. So I'm not attacking you. Unless you're one of those militant ones that like stands in the restaurant and yells at the people eating a steak. Then yes, I am attacking you. You need a hobby that doesn't involve harassing other people. Or maybe a job. I don't know. You need something. You want to be a vegan? Be a vegan. But I'm warning you about the Beyond Meat stuff because it's going to kill you. In fact, I'm going to warn you about a lot of vegan stamped foods because oftentimes they're loaded with these oils. They're loaded with all these weird preservatives and things that you can't pronounce. It's not good for you. It's going to make you feel crappy. It's just, listen, I said it on the last podcast. I had a heart surgeon technician. I don't know the proper name, so don't get all boo, but he works for a heart surgeon. He's a tech. They have vegans coming in all the time with blocked arteries, like full-on blockages that need stents, having heart attacks. Why do you think that is? It's because this vegan food is loaded up with these chemicals that are going to kill you. And it's not just vegan food. It's almost all the packaged and processed food at the grocery store. It's going to destroy you. And I would love to really get into this category in terms of the Beyond Meat, because it's bigger than just like your health. This movement is pretty crazy. I mean, these corporate giants and political figures and what they're doing to push this fake industrial byproduct on us and they want to remove meat altogether. That's their goal. They want to remove meat altogether from our diets. Some of these people are crazy hard on the fact that meat is bad for you and they don't want to hear any other side of it. Some of these people are on the wagon of they want to save the planet. You know, they want to save animals. There's a lot of camps. Sometimes it's all three, you know, but it's turned into a bit of a religion and it's spreading like wildfire. And they've talked about, you know, artificially raising the price of meat to force you to go to this stuff. It's crazy. So I suggest you watch the Beyond Impossible documentary if you want to learn more about this product and what it's going to do to what it could potentially do to us if we don't we can fight this war with our wallets. Pretty straightforward and simple. And you know what? The grocery stores, they can raise the price of meat. You can literally go directly to your rancher, your local butchers. They will sell meat to you directly. They can. They will. Trust me. They much prefer it. And you'd be better for it because it's going to be better meat, fresher. More than likely, the cow's not stressed out by some industrial, you know, farming that so often these cows are and pigs are, and you've seen it. If you can buy local, buy local. It's not that much more. In fact, I was pricing out ground beef from that farm up the street, and they were $6.75 a pound for ground beef. And I mean, I know that sounds, you know, but ground beef at Kroger the other day was $8. I have no idea where that stuff came from. I have no idea. Now Ingles, they source their meat locally. That's one of their big things, and their meat was a little bit cheaper than that. But you know, again, it's like, okay, well, then I'm happy to go to Ingles. But $6.25 a pound is not that bad for ground beef. And the fact of the matter is, this is ground beef from a cow that was grazing in the field just up from where I live. It doesn't get any fresher than that. So I'd be willing to pay a few bucks more. I think most of us would, especially that. So they're going to try and do things, but we can fight them with our wallet. You can watch the documentary. You can Google them. They really don't hide their agenda. These people who are investors in this Beyond Meat business, the owners of the company, the big talking heads, they're not hiding what they're saying. They literally say they would wipe cows off the planet if they could. If they would Thanos snap their fingers if they could do it to save it from climate change. That's what some of them have said. And yeah, they're using climate change to push the vegan diet and this product on us. It's something about methane farts, and it's ridiculous. But yeah. But all this stuff, guys, it's not complicated. Okay, the dieting, what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, it's not complicated. We've made it complicated because we want easy. That's what happened. It started with convenience, faster meals. That gave us fast food restaurants, TV dinners, boxed hamburger helper meals. Now you can have grandma's pot pie any day with no prep. Just stick it in the oven, or even better, the microwave. Little frozen pot pies. I used to love those as a kid. It was convenient. Wasn't always cheap, though. Bring on the processed foods, the oils, the things that can bring the price down. Convenience leads to what? Obesity, cancer, disease. Now here we are We all want to get skinny. We want to get healthy, but we don't want to lose the convenience of our previous diet. So we complicate things. We substitute Hungry Man's for lean cuisines. We cut out the red meat and up the intake on carbs. We count calories, follow flowcharts, eat keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, Atkins, South Beach, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, and on and on and on and on. We do all these things and we make it complicated. Eat this, not that. Do this, do this. You can have bread, but you can't have bread. Or you can have this kind of bread. Or you can have rice, but only eat white rice. And it's only got to be boiled. And we have all these rules that we've come up with, and none of it really seems to work. Why? Because when you do any of these diets, these fads, don't even get me started on Nutrisystem. Ugh. It's not sustainable. We've complicated our dietary health for convenience, and we're not healthier. Frankly, we're most likely annoyed. We're mad at ourselves because after 2 months, 2 weeks, or heck, day 2, we quit the diet we just started. We just quit. And then we beat ourselves up. And it's a vicious cycle. New year, new you, right? I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna do this, and then before you know it, it's like, I can't keep up with it. It's too hard. I'm too busy. I work too much, or this is too expensive, or this Nutrisystem tastes like garbage, because it is garbage. The first thing you have to realize, it's just not complicated, folks. Think about what we ate hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, and do that. But David, our diets allow us to live longer. No, they don't. Modern medicine helps us live longer. The fact that you can cut your leg open and not be septic is the reason why you live longer. All right. We live longer because of modern day medicine. Our diet is actually getting in the way of it all. And now look, you can say what you want about NSNG, but I don't believe NSNG is a fad diet. It simply takes you back to how our ancestors ate. Somewhat like paleo, just not as strict. And there's guys out there that take this a step further, man. They only eat meat, the carnivore diet. I've read about that. I've heard a lot of good things about this diet. There's a couple of people who have autoimmune diseases, like chronically bad autoimmune, like crushing, like I need to have a hip replacement at age like 15 autoimmune diseases. And they've basically cured themselves by going to an all meat diet. But that might be another show, because I am interested in it. I think it's pretty interesting. I want to hear about it. And there's actually a really good Joe Rogan podcast on it. So maybe we'll talk about that. But, no sugar, no grains. Start there. Exercise, do some yoga, go for a walk, ride a bike. If you want, lift weights, if you want to get into that. Do that. Go no sugar, no grain. Do a little exercise. Go for a walk. I mean, just like a little 2-mile walk every day. That's good for you. You got a dog, take them out. They'll appreciate it. Do that until you're back in shape. That's important. Don't be skinny fat. And that your weight is at what you want it to be at. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you want to lose 100 pounds. There's a guy who did NSNG. Heard the story the other day on Vinny's podcast. He was 600 pounds. He was a 600-pound man. And his daughter ran off into the street. His little daughter ran into the street, and he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't stop his daughter. He couldn't get up off the chair fast enough because he was so heavy. And that's when he realized he had to do something, because he couldn't protect his own family, because that's how heavy he was. And he had heard Vinny's podcast, and he had like Diamond Dallas Page was on Adam Carolla's show or something talking about his yoga program. So he decided to do NSNG and yoga. And he has lost like 300 pounds. I think he's lesser than that now. And he's done 2 marathons. He's completed 2 marathons, and he's like, I think it's more than 300 pounds. But he's now completed 2 marathons, or triathlons, actually. I think he did 1 triathlon, if I remember correctly. So that's the power of this. And you do that until you're at the weight you want to be at. He got down to his weight and he maintains it. And then, after that, you can relax a bit if you want to. Have a cheat day. Eat some pasta. Eat a cookie. You earned it, right? You met your goals. Maybe it took you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Maybe you're like me and it was a little faster because you were just blessed. I'm blessed with a high metabolism. I certainly am. You've not, if you're not a recovering cancer patient like Vinny was, or a pre-diabetic, or you have some sort of chronic illness, you You can have a little bit of this or that from time to time. It's okay. That's the beauty of this. Once you do NSNG to the max and go into your ketosis, your body will be able to handle the small cheat days, no problem. You're going to go off of ketosis very briefly, but then, you go back on it and you'll be fine. And frankly, you're probably not going to want to cheat or crave to. If you go real hard on this for like a couple months, you're not going to desire to eat all that stuff because, one, you're going to feel amazing because this is more than about losing weight. I know I touch on that a lot, but this will make you feel so much better. You think about like inflammation, right? That's a big deal. Maybe your hands hurt, your knees hurt, your joints hurt. Maybe after a long day, you're just like, I'm just achy and I feel swollen. This will fix that. Like I used to get puffy hands and stuff. I don't get that anymore. My hands would hurt. Like I felt like I thought I had carpal tunnel in my hand. But since cutting out all this certain food, that's gone. That pain has gone away. So there's something to be said about that. And when you feel good like that, when you start to, your joints don't hurt and you start to not feel so inflamed and you'll start to go, oh, okay, I really don't want to eat all that stuff because I don't want to feel crappy again. Even if a little bit may not make you feel that way, you're just like, I don't want it. I'm happy eating what I'm eating. At the end of the day, I really, listen, guys, at the end of the day, I don't care what diet you go on, vegan, paleo, whatever. You do you. I'm not here to preach. But what I really wanted to touch on this episode was to avoid the processed oils, because I think that's the silent killer in our culture, because nobody really wants to talk about it, because it's one of the biggest lies, the biggest mistakes, the biggest, oh my goodness, we really screwed up, that the government, USDA, and health and doctors have committed since this stuff's been put on the market. That eat less fat, go higher up on the oil, the processed food, it's killing us. I mean, that I beg of you. I don't care if you diet. I don't care if you have any interest in dieting. Just think about cutting them out as soon as possible or as much as possible. I know it's not always going to be, I know you can't always do it. You can't. If you want to go out to eat, you go to a nice dinner. You don't know what oil they're using to cook their meat in. It's very likely they could be using processed oils. So it's going to be hard. But if you can cut out the majority of it, it's not going to be, because I am telling you, this crap isn't everything. It is crazy how much of this stuff is in the foods we eat. And you just ask yourself, why is it even in there? Doesn't make any sense. Do that for me. Your body will thank you. You'll be happier if you do. If you have questions about NSNG or more questions about the vegetable oil, or maybe you have something you want to add, you can hit me up on social media. You can go to the Rant with David King on Facebook and Instagram. You can hit me up on Twitter, though I'm not there very much anymore. Probably going to be switching over to Getter soon. But you can also email me at, davidking.therant@gmail.com. You can hit me up there, email me, and we can talk more about all kinds of stuff. We can talk about the diet. We can talk about these oils and how they're bad for you. If maybe you have a different point of view, or maybe you have something you want to add, hit me up. I will respond. And if you love the show, we appreciate it when you tell a friend, but I appreciate it even more, folks. I appreciate it even more when you go to Apple, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts. You go to Spotify podcasts, Amazon. We're all on all of those. If you go on there, you can rate the show. You have no idea how much that will help my program. If you could just send us a 4 or 5 star rating, preferably 5-star, and tell a friend. We appreciate that so much because it helps the show grow, and who knows where this could go. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be feeling better, and I look forward so much to getting back and talking again with you guys. Y'all take care. Maybe we can get Buck on. We'll talk some football. Anyway, look forward to talking to you later this week. Y'all have a good one.